What's going on, collectors? Optical 20 here for another Hot Toys video review. This time it's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Hot Toys Electro, and I want to give a shout out to my buddy Eric. I kind of borrowed this figure from him. I bought this, but I know he was gonna get this anyway, so thanks, buddy. Initially I didn't want to get him because of the price, $230, but it went down. It was on sale for, I believe, $174, $175, but Sideshow for Spook with free shipping, so I said why not, you know, and worst comes to worst, he's gonna pick him up, and he will, my buddy. So yeah, here you go. So let's start off with the box. It's a good looking box. I actually liked it. It says you will see me for who I am. It's the same line as the Amazing Spider-Man 2 box. It has this weird shape on the cover, but it's nice nonetheless. I like the colors, the artwork itself. Unfortunately, I guess this is the last one of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 that we're gonna see. I don't think we're gonna see Rhino, even though I personally would like to see it. It's, at least in the preview, it looks massive. It looks like a beautiful figure. You know, even though the movie didn't do well, I actually liked it more than the others. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I know I can't speak for others, but I did find the movie pretty good. You know, I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't expecting like a Dark Knight kind of movie, but I don't know. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Even the character Electro, that's one of the reasons why it didn't sell well, I believe, is because you know, they thought he was just lame, but I didn't think so. You know, that's one of the reasons why I decided to pick him up. And I think there's some pretty cool gimmicks in there. As you can see, shoe type, you just take it out, and there's the inlay there. It says Electro. Pretty nice picture too. I believe that's the actual figure. Maybe not. No, he has a different look. So yeah, it says the cast and crew in there. So you take this out. He has a lot to offer in terms of, I would say, accessories. Not so much accessories, but gimmicks for a figure that's 220. I guess they gotta compensate for the character. And he comes with this hands, which is kind of like his burnt hand. It's the same texture as his head. You can see this is kind of like the open palm hands where he wants to, I don't know, like electrocute someone or something like that. Nice looking texture right here. So you can see it's kind of like grayish, bluish tint sort of thing. And then you move out and you'll see on the other side, he has two different sets of hands. This one is the more Electro hands. It has, as you can see, kind of like a, his fingers are kind of like translucent because of there's a gimmick that you would see later on. I'm pretty sure you've seen it. There's a light that goes through his hands, kind of like an effect where he's kind of like an Iron Man sort of thing. So the light goes through that. I think it's a pretty cool effect, pretty cool gimmick right there. This is more of a dynamic hand, where if you want him shooting out those electrical thingies that comes, so that's pretty cool. And also he comes with a pair of these. These are the shorter versions. You know, I'm a big fan of this, regardless if it's with him, Scarlet Witch, Thor. I don't know. It's just, at first I thought it was kind of cheap, but I disagree. You know, now that seeing it firsthand, I think it's pretty cool, you know, to be quite honest with you. So how you do it is, it's not complicated at all. There is kind of like a groove, so you just insert the hand, but yeah, you just put it right there. It's not that bad. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. And then he comes with a longer version, which is pretty cool as well. So you can see there, that's the longer version. So I don't know, it depends on how you want to display your figure. But if you want to display him just neutral, just standing up and down and just a little bit of electricity shooting out of his hands, then you can choose the shorter version, because the longer one is a bit too long. You know, that's more of a, if you want to make him fight with Spider-Man. And he does come with a dynamic stand, which is pretty cool. I'm not even going to take it out of the packaging, just in you know, because I don't need to. And like I said, somebody's buying this right away. So yep, and there you go. The actual figure itself is, I think it's amazing. It looks great. You know, the costume, you know, everything. That's, you see the boots. it's made out of like a soft, like a pleather kind of thingy. The the details are great, you know, and he also feels good, you know, on hand. It doesn't feel cheap whatsoever. As you can see, there's some effects on his costume, like it's tear down and bolts coming out and whatnot. I don't know, it's just he got a bad rap, kind of like Mandarin. Mandarin is a solid figure. I would say this is better than Mandarin because as far as being a villain is concerned, at least he's not an alternate villain. He actually played a big part in the movie, so that's a plus. So you can see the bolt right there on the hand. The problem with his costume is, well, I didn't even attempt to articulate him a lot because, like I said, I don't want to crumple all the it's not gonna be mine. So, you know, I take good care of these figures if I know I'm not gonna keep them. So you can see here from the side, very nicely detailed. Nicely detailed. The stitching is great. It looks, it's gonna hold up, you know, even if you want to, you know, because the stitching, you can see it from the stitching itself. And it's not rubber, so you won't have the same problem. As you can see, there's some weathering on his boots too, like the Batman Begins, which I do have, and I'm keeping him. But as far as quality is concerned, I think this is more, how would I say it, a higher quality because of him having a leather suit rather than, you know, not worrying about if it's gonna break anytime soon or something like that. You know, I'm having a hard time focusing here. I guess the camera just went off the grid here. Yeah, I'm focusing on his butt, obviously. There's a zipper on the back as well. I don't know why, but there is. It's not like you can take him off. But if you wish to, I guess you could. But yeah, the costume itself is great. I think it looks great. Movie accurate, I would say. Even though I didn't really pay much attention to the movie or whatever he's wearing there. Nicely detailed right here, and so far I want to say it hinders your articulation a bit, but like I said, I didn't pose him that much. Like, this is one of his gauntlets. To say that, you know, his hands move, it's not like I'm gonna pose him running. He has limited movement in the movies anyway. He's not, see, you can bend his elbows like 90 degrees right there. I believe it's not double jointed, and even if it is, the suit itself would pull it down. So I mean, I'm sure you can make this work somehow, but I just didn't want to force things out. So at the bottom, as you can see there, his boots, everything, it's nicely made, you know. What can I tell you? Right there, we'll go back to the front. When you're buying this type of figures where, you know, they paid close attention to his costume instead, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have some limited articulation because of so. But in his defense, him and Batman are the two ones that can be, I would say, you can get away for posing them in a museum pose or just his hands or elbows raising up. So what happens is this is how you do it. You take out the hand and kind of like an Iron Man effect. The thing is kind of pushed inside the what do you call this? The switch. I mean, you can't see it right here because I got a lot of lights, but it's shining through. Is it strong enough? Not necessarily, but I would say it's a pretty cool gimmick. You know, if you have a figure that is kind of like Electro, that you have to he's not really popular to begin with, but he's a cool villain. I think he's a good character. I think the movie is okay. You gotta have some gimmicks, and he did. You know, I think they delivered as far as gimmick is concerned, because if you're gonna pay $230, you know, you gotta get more than a figure who, you know, like this. You're paying a premium right there. So there you go. You can see the switch, and the battery is installed inside of this gauntlet. So I went off the grid there because what I'm trying to do is take out the gauntlet. So you can see there, it looks like an Iron Man figure. Without that, yep, right there, that's the switch, and that's where the battery compartment is. It's not that hard to pull it out. It's kind of hard when you're shooting something. So you can turn it on and off. It is inside the gauntlet. So yeah, you kind of just push it in. I'm sorry that we're having some you know, camera focusing problems here, but yep, there you go. So you just push that in. There you go. That's it. It's not really that hard. That's pretty cool. And moving on to the head sculpt. I think it's a pretty strong head sculpt, to be quite honest with you. It has the DX12 gimmick where it's magnetized because of the light shining through. But even without the light shining through, another gimmick which I welcome. I like that gimmick, to be quite honest with you. It looks beautiful. I don't know. This is a figure I don't mind keeping if I wasn't selling it. You know, if somebody's gonna buy it from me and he's just gonna lowball me, I was gonna be like, you know what, I'd keep him because he's unique. Are we gonna see another Electro? Probably not. You know, we're gonna have to wait another Spider-Man. But you're gonna tell me, well, who cares? It's Electro. You know what? If you bought it for the price that I bought it for, let's say $175, I don't think it's that bad to keep. You know, worst case scenario, because of the gimmick itself, he looks cool. You know, I mean, if you have a Spider-Man figure, you want to have him sometimes take a picture or just pose him in your cabinet with someone, not him just all museum pose. You know, just like an opponent like he's fighting there. So yep, you can see it's kind of like a DX12. There's a switch at the bottom, and even though his entire head does not light up, which I would show you what the effect looks like, I still think it's pretty solid that it does that. You know, it does have that. Hot Toys could have easily taken that feature out and still charged $230, but you're gonna say it's not gonna sell. Well, this one's not selling with this one, so you know, I think it's because of the character and the movie. You know, that's exactly what I think. You know, if we have a figure like Scarecrow right now who's going for $400 and he does not have any gimmick, but it's, you know, it's a hot commodity in the market. If you see something for 300, people would buy it. Why? Because the movie is great. You know, it's a great movie. But compare that figure to this guy. This one is a lot better for your money. It's just that the movie sucked to other people's eyes, not in my eyes at least. But yeah, with this gimmick, it looks cool. As you can see there, I kind of turned the lights a little bit dimmer. I turned off my my point light right there so you can see it. The entire head does not light up, but that's okay. You know, I think it's still a pretty cool effect. And here's what I'll do. I'll just throw him a couple of poses, maybe 3 poses. This is the up and down museum pose, which he still looks badass if you ask me. You give him the fisted hands, and he looks like just mad. You know, this would give you a nice overall look. You can see the costume is shiny, and he just looks great, in my opinion, at least. You know, I mean, is it $230 great? No, but if you can get him for a cheaper price, maybe ideally at around 160-ish or lower, but I would say 160, 170 would be the sweet point. You know, with Hot Toys pricing now, the regular price of a Hot Toys figure is already $230. Let's face it. So if you can get this for $60, $50 more, I mean less, then I would say it's a worthy addition to your collection. You know, it's kind of like buying a body from a Hot Toys figure or something like that. And this is him. You know, there's some cool poses on the Hot Toys or on the Sideshow's pictures that I'm just not willing to try. I'm sure I can achieve that because they were able to. Like I said, I just don't want to mess around with the costume a bit too much, especially if I want to keep him in a mint condition as possible because of, you know, Eric, my buddy. I wanted to have, you know, have the luxury of posing him. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, you have a figure like this and Spider-Man, they would go nicely together because that's the end of the Spider-Man as we know it, at least the Andrew Garfield era. So having him in there, you know, with this is the shorter lightning thingies shooting out of his hands, by the way. And you can do a bunch of poses. You know, I didn't even use the dynamic stand on him because, like I said, I wouldn't. But I think it looks pretty cool. Not like I mentioned earlier, not $220 cool. I don't know what Hot Toys is thinking anyway. If you are releasing a figure like him, Mandarin, or, you know, some other odd figures, this is mostly for hardcore collectors. I wouldn't even say hardcore, but the ones who are willing to step out of just the heroes. And I am. You know, if you see my Dark Knight collection, I would pick up any Dark Knight figures out there. I guess this is one of the better poses that I came up with without messing around too much with his legs or arms. As you can see, the arms can go up. I'm sure I can make this work. Just hold it on the shoulders when you move it up and down. I'm sure you're gonna get a nice effect right there. But yeah, it's kind of like he's shooting something. Or you can, if you have a dynamic stand, you can have him flying around with this lightning bolts and everything. So that's another cool pose that you can do. Have him fight with Spider-Man right there. It's all about poses. If you can pose a figure nicely, it makes all the difference in the world. But like I mentioned earlier, he's cool. He's a nice looking figure. The gimmick makes up for, I would say, his lack of accessories, if you want to call it that way. You know, even though he has decent amount of hands, a dynamic stand, and you know, the 2 bolts. What else can you ask for? And that's pretty much it. This is the pose that I would say, if you're gonna keep him in a detail, you know, you can keep him like this if you don't want to take up too much space, because those lightning bolts with his hands raised up, you know, in a detail, it's gonna be harder to contain him. But if it's in open space, then you can go crazy. But that's pretty much it. You know, I like the figure. I really do. I don't mind keeping him if I was to, and if I can run around a cheaper price in the future, perhaps I would pick him up again. The gimmick itself, I would say, makes up for the lack of accessories, and you know, for whatever reason it is that you don't want to pick him up. I like gimmicks on figures. I just do. I just think it brings another element to the collection. You know, if you got a figure like him or Mandarin, obviously he's a lot better because of his light up features, and I think overall he's just a better buy if you have to buy a villain. And that's it. Thank you for watching, guys. So please, you know, like my videos, share it. You know, I would appreciate that. And if you need to buy him, I posted the link down below to the Sideshow website. And until next time, I'll see you. Thank you.